Welcome to Conversations with Character. I am here with the wonderful, generous, incredible Dr. Monica Bolds, who has brought my smile back to life like I never thought it would be. It's an incredible feeling. I cannot even begin to explain to it. I'm here to get her story because I really don't even know it myself. I want to start at the very beginning like I do with everybody else. How old are you? Where are you from?
I'm 55.
I had to think about that.
Well, yeah, because my birthday is next week.
Okay.
I'm holding on to double nickel. I want to say, Corey, how incredibly proud I am of you for going on this journey, and how much every time I see you, I smile because the difference that it made in just your demeanor, the way you talk, the way you hold your shoulders is like night and day.
Absolutely.
And I mean, that to me is so rewarding, so enriching. And it's just a small piece of the love that I bring to the universe. But, you know, I'm glad that you decided to trust me. And I'm excited to see all of the nuances and doors that you're feeling freer to walk through now, and I just can't wait to see it.
Thank you. Actually, I did a podcast the other day, someone else's podcast, and we were kind of talking about an uncomfortable topic. It was a little heavy, and like part of my backstory. And I found myself like looking in the camera and I was smiling to make it a little lighter or whatever. And it was that moment that I was like, man, this is when I would have usually been like, man, I'm looking at the camera and smiling. I got to cover my mouth real quick. It was an incredible feeling to know that like, yeah, I could just keep smiling and talk. And it's I don't have to feel self-conscious about it.
Absolutely. Full stop, full throttle. Hit the gas, brother.
Absolutely.
Go far and fast.
Where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Paterson, New Jersey. It's I wouldn't say it's a small town, but it's a small town about 10 miles outside of New York City. We were about 10 miles from the George Washington Bridge. It was an old industrial town. When I grew up, it was very poor. There was, of course, you had the side where people had money and the side where people didn't have money.
Good old train tracks.
Right? Yeah, so I was on the poor side of the train tracks, but we didn't know we were poor.
Yeah. Ignorance is bliss, man. Ignorance is bliss.
We didn't know we were poor. We were happy just the same. So, that's where I grew up, Paterson, New Jersey.
Okay.
Very, very different place than it is today. My dad grew up there, and my mom grew up there, so that's where I'm from originally.
And what'd you do after high school age? Did you go right into the dental industry?
No, after high school, I went into finance. I thought I was going to be some amazing stockbroker. I thought I was going to be trading out Wall Street.
I get it,
I thought I was going to be that chick ringing the bell or hitting the gavel, announcing IPOs. I thought I was going to be on the floor. Give me 3, give me 2, give me 1, give me 3, You see the movie Wall Street.
Absolutely.
That's going to be me, right?
Yep. Not quite.
It didn't work out. I ended up working in, after I graduated, I went to college. I went to Kent State University. Don't ask me how I ended up there. I guess I was trying to get away from home because I'm just a free spirit. My mother was very, very controlling. I couldn't go nowhere without her knowing. And I said, and she asked me where I wanted to go. I said, I'm leaving. I'm gone. And I should have probably went to Rutgers or stayed in state, but I said, okay, let me do something different. I went to Kent State.
Okay.
Kent State, like I said, I got a degree in finance and real estate because I was going to be this.
Wow.
Yes. Matter of fact, one of the books, one of the required readings was Art of the Deal.
That's amazing.
Yeah, Art of the Deal. And so, as a matter of fact, we had to study Donald Trump because he was like the real estate magnate at the time, and it was hilarious.
That's crazy.
Some of the stuff that he had in that book.
Really? Like what?
Okay, so take Mar-a-Lago, how he came to Mar-a-Lago, for instance. And that property has been with him for years, for decades. So when, I don't know who owned it, but when the guy who was selling it he wanted like $12 million at the time. And I think Trump offered him $7. And the guy was like, are you crazy? No way. So this is in Trump's words. And then, so he saw it on the market a long time lingering. And so he went back and he offered the guy, I think, $5. And the guy was like, get out of here. And it stayed on the market another couple years. And then I think he ended up getting it for like less than $2 million.
Wow.
Because he understood the weight game. Yep. He understood going back. And I said, okay, persistence is key, so and then let's say move on, and I got a job at a bank. Okay. And so I didn't really make it far in the bank, and they didn't want to hire me for any management programs. They were steering me into like these secretarial positions. The cute name was
back in that day,
administrative assistant. And now, mind you, I'm sitting here doing paperwork for people who I didn't even feel like were a fraction as smart as I was.
Right.
And I'm like, why did you do that? I'm thinking to myself. And so I learned they would have to bring me outside. It's like, can you just not talk during the closing or during? And so, they didn't want my input, but I saw all the mistakes some of the bankers were making. And, I couldn't get in the management training program. And I tried, and I said, you know what, later for this. So I went back to New Jersey. And this was in Ohio back in the 80s. Wow. Very racist. Yeah. Very racist.
So I was just saying, it was a tough time for you to be trying to climb up in the corporate ladder then.
Oh, yeah. Full stop. And I'm so ignorant. I'm thinking to myself, I could just keep trying and keep pushing. And something said, okay, you're just gonna have to redirect. So I just said, let me go back to New Jersey. My mom was opening up a restaurant. So she says, well, come back home, run the restaurant, and then let's figure it out. And so that's what happened. So when I came back home, I worked in my family restaurant for about, I guess, a year. And then we closed the restaurant maybe after a year or two. Really wasn't making the type of money we thought it would make. And then I decided to go and substitute teaching. And so while I was a substitute teacher, I ended up passing the test to be an actual teacher. Huh. I don't remember what the test was called back in the day. And then I had all these offers for teaching, but something said, well, I skipped the whole part that I had got engaged to this guy and I was living in Tennessee. And that whole part, right? Which was even more racist. And I am
absolutely
thinking I'm this boss. I went down there, I was like, oh my God, you people, give me a break. Give me a fucking break. So I said, I'm not winning down here. And so when I went back to New Jersey, I had a chance to think about it because I had told my then fiance that I wanted to go to dental school. And he was like, oh no. Like, no. Yeah, like, no.
Red flag?
And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I'm not really asking you.
There was not permission being requested.
Right. I'm like, I'm not asking you. But he just felt like it was going to be such an imposition on his plan to have a family and get married. And how was that going to work? And I'm like, well, I don't know how it's going to work, but how is it going to work if I don't get what I want?
Good for you, though. Good for you.
So when I went back home and I went back home and I was in the family restaurant. And that was a whole trip. So after we closed the restaurant, I started substitute teaching. Teaching back then, it was in the middle of the crack era.
Oh, whoa.
All of these kids parents were dropping dead from AIDS and overdoses and crack. It was horrible. And literally, I mean, you had to come to school with your game face because you didn't know if you taught one thing the whole day, you were lucky because of the behavior was so off the charts. Some of these kids that I was teaching, their parents just left them and didn't come home for like weeks at a time. I mean, can you imagine?
Man.
And they're relying on neighbors for food, and I'm bringing food to school. Some of these babies weren't washing.
And you're not making any money to be bringing this food.
You know how much I was making?
How much?
$75 a day.
Wow. God.
And the Patterson, and I was teaching in Patterson school system, and sometimes, like, I think my, in all fairness, my rent was like $400 or $500, and which I thought was way more than I could afford because I had come from Ohio where the rent was $200.
What you would do for that $400 or $500 rent right now, man?
honey. And so I'm going to these kids, I'm following them home, and like, is your mom home? Is your dad home? And this one kid, I never forget his name. I never forget him. I think his name was Raheem. Every day this boy would cuss me out. And like every day this boy called me out my name. He was like, F you, Miss Bowles, you ain't shit. And I said, okay, Raheem, how many times can you tell me this? I understand I'm not shit. Can we please get back to the lesson? It was almost like, here, just eat the glass. I mean,
Yep.
And so, and I got tired of sending him to the principal's office because he'd just be sitting down there coloring. And so one day I said, I'm going to follow him home. I'm going to go home with him. So this is what turned it around for me. I started following the kids home just to see where they live, see what kind of, environment they had going on. So I followed this kid home and I knocked on the door. So he answered the door. I said, where's your mother? And those eyes got so big. You would have thought
you ain't shit now.
Right. Well, you would have thought his head was gonna explode. So she answered the door. I said, can I come in? So she said, yeah. So I said, can I have a, she said, she offered me to sit at the table and stuff. And I said, I don't know what's going on here, but I said, your son's cussing me out every day. Every day. I said, what is going on? I said, he's saying all these mean things to me. And I said, and I'm thinking it's coming from somewhere else because I treat him really good. I treat him, but I said, I'm not getting anything done by keeping him suspended. This is the only way I can teach. And I don't think that's good for him. Yeah. And she's like, I don't know, Miss Bowles, what to tell you. I talk to him all the time. And so not even... And I saw this lady. I looked and I knew, I said, hopefully this will make a difference with this boy. I don't know. She didn't tell me what was going on or anything. 2 days later, the principal comes and we're going to the gym and he's acting a little bit better. And he said, I need Raheem. And I'm like, Raheem is doing good. What are you taking him out of class for now?
Right.
So he takes Raheem. I don't see Raheem for the rest of the day. So I go down there and I talk to the principal. I said, well, why'd you take Raheem out the class? He goes, oh, his mother died. Two days ago, I was sitting in this lady's kitchen having coffee, talking about how we can help her son.
Wow.
And the principal and he said it like, he said it like, oh, it's Tuesday.
I mean, at that point, though, in that time, it probably was kind of run of the mill for that principal. I mean, he knew about every single one of the parent deaths. Was it an OD?
Was it what?
Was it an OD?
I don't know. Wow. I don't know if it was an OD. I don't know if she was suffering from complications of AIDS, because that's when people were dropping. It was dropping like flies. Like, your neighbor didn't answer the door for a couple of days. You need to bang on the door because we didn't know people. And then at the time, you didn't know like we didn't know how we were catching it. We didn't know, like, they thought it was the drugs, and then they thought it was just the gay people or the intravenous drug users. We didn't know. We had no clue. It was like it ravaged our community. I'm not just talking about Patterson. It ravaged the Black community.
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
Way, way harder than it did anything in the rest of the white community, Hispanic community. Black women especially were dropping dead of AIDS on a regular basis. And, and I'm sitting at this lady's table like 2 days ago. Two days ago. So, it made me, that moment crystallized a whole lot of things for me. And I went to the funeral because I didn't believe she was dead.
Wow.
Matter of fact, the church that they funeralized her was across the street from where I was living at the time.
Wow.
And I said, I don't believe this lady is dead. And I walked over there and looked in the casket and walked back across the street. And at that moment, it was a bunch of moments, but that moment was like, tomorrow is not promised for anybody.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to do something, I better do it now. And the best time and only time that we ever have is right now. And if you think another day, another week, another month, another year, whatever the case may be, is going to be any better than the time is right now, you're fooling yourself. And it was in that moment where I said, I'm going to dental school. So I started applying, and it was so funny because this girl that I was substitute teaching with, she told me she was in dental school and that she had gotten pregnant, so she had to drop out for a year. I said, really? I want to go to dental school. How do I do that? I had no clue,
Mm-hmm.
And so she says, well, just go over to UMD&J, which at the time was University of Medicine, Dentistry, New Jersey.
Okay.
And she gave me a name, and I called the man, and I went, of course, I got in my car and drove over to Newark, and I said, how do I get into dental school? And he gave me this big old book, this catalog. He says, you have to have all of these classes to get in here, and you have to have this. And I'm like, whoa, right? So I said, okay, you can eat a whole pie, but just not in one bite. Keep thinking that. So I said, okay. So I ended up having to go back to school because I took a lot of business classes,
right.
which business and real estate and stuff. That was my first love. I just knew I was
end of the spectrum.
Right. I just knew I was going to be this whole real estate person, which for some reason God was like, nope.
That's how it goes.
And so I think I didn't. I had to take what they call a dental. They call it a dental admissions test at the time, and I didn't score good. My score was probably on the national average, down in the lower end of the bell curve. And then, but there was one section called visual perception that it was off the chart. So I scored like on that one section in like the top maybe 10% in the country. And they weight that a lot more heavily than a lot of the other stuff that was on the test. And because my visual perception or whatever was so high, I started getting offers. And the rest was history. So I applied to a couple schools. I did get into UMD&J eventually, and I got into Howard. So I said, Howard? I'm going to DC. Packed it up. Told my boyfriend at the time, I'm going. Got to DC, got in, got robbed the first week.
Oh no!
I got jacked by some more crackheads. My mother was like, are you okay? Macy's just called. They said somebody's trying to use your credit card. I said, I got robbed.
Oh man.
I got
DC.
robbed. Yes, I did. And I mean, that was the height of they was having crack issues down there too. And totally different place now, though.
Oh, for sure.
Totally different place. But got through dental school. And dental school was tough. That's
how many years is that? That's 8 years?
4 years for dental school.
Okay.
And 1 year if you decide to do a residency.
Okay.
And I did do a residency. So I graduated from Howard in, I guess it was 2001.
Okay.
Yeah. So, right. And then as soon as I got to New York, that was June. I graduated June, was it June 30th? So they give you a month to kind of get yourself together to get to the residency. Get there, get settled in. 9/11. Boom. First tower goes down. I'm like, what? Now, I'm from New Jersey,
right,
so we used to go over there all the time. We used to go to the World Trade Center to watch concerts, to eat. Was it Windows on the World? It was just a beautiful area down there. We go down there and look at Battery Park. So I'm back in my hometown. I left DC and I'm packed up, come back north. And I'm just like, what the?
Yeah.
I had never heard the name Bin Laden. I had never heard nothing. I hadn't heard. I'm so in my little world.
Right.
And I walk outside. Well, me and a friend who was in the oral surgery residence says, come up on the roof. And we're looking up. We're in Harlem Hospital looking at the smoke billowing from downtown. You can see the smoke up on 135th Street all the way downtown at the World Trade Plaza at the other end of the island. And it was crazy. Yeah. People were putting up all these posters, missing. Have you seen this? Have you seen this? And all these people were gone. And that's how I started my residency, right in the midst of 9/11.
Wow.
Where New York was frozen. And I think about COVID, but 9/11, it was frozen.
It was a different kind of thing. It was there because there was a undeniable fear of that we had never experienced before as a country, and then you're right in the heart of it.
And I don't see any cars going down the East Side Highway or Harlem River Drive. There's no cars going down the West Side Highway. There's no cars going down Lenox Avenue. There's nothing.
That alone is unsettling.
Nothing. Yeah. And all these helicopters circling the island, and you couldn't go over. It was called the RFK Bridge. I think the Triborough Bridge at the time. You couldn't go to Queens. You couldn't go back into New Jersey. You could, So that's how I started my residency. But I did my residency at Harlem Hospital, which was probably one of the tougher residencies, and they made us do a lot of extractions. You had to do a lot of stuff to get through there. And I think that is what's missing from a lot of these doctors today. They don't want to do a residency. You and 5 or 6 doctors are looking at the waiting room of like 150 people. And you're like, every single day. Right. How are we gonna cut through this? And we had to be a team.
Yeah.
We had to actually work together. And they wouldn't let us leave until the last patient was seen.
God. You were doing only dental work there?
Yeah.
Wow.
And not just that, I had to stay late. I had to pour up models. I had to get cases. I mean, you do the dentistry, but you still got to write up lab slips. You got to pour up models. You got to do all these other things. It was hard. Yeah, it was very hard. When that year came by, they asked, did I plan to come back? I was like, who, me? I was like, what you people don't understand is that I have been licensed now and I can get a job anywhere.
I gotta do this.
I was like, are you kidding me? They're like, well, we were talking. And they framed it up real nice.
Yeah, I bet you were talking.
They said, we were talking, and you are a shining star amongst your peers, and we see your leadership, we see your organization, and your consistency and your dedication, and we want to know if you want to be chief resident next year. We know you got to do it. I'm like, hell no.
Wow.
Thank you, but no thank you. Chief nothing. They kind of framed it up. They complimented me, stroked my ego a little bit, but I was like, champs, I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
So, but I tell you what, that grind is, you can't replicate that.
Yeah.
You cannot replicate that grind in real life. And I think a lot of that is what's missing today in some of the other younger doctors.
Yeah. Just the things you learn on how to do it well, do it efficiently, and feel that pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. How to make a decision.
Yeah.
How to say, no, I can't do this. I don't know how. Because I haven't been trained. But in that, a lot of them, because they didn't take the time to do a residency right out of school, there's no time now. You're married, you've got kids, you've got bills. So how do you go back into like that kind of environment with a family now to feed? So you kind of have to do it on the fly. And I find that so many doctors are just, they don't practice the basics. And because they don't practice dentists, I mean, everybody's after the money grab.
Yep.
And because they're after the money grab, they're treatment planning all these big cases, but you're referring out this part, you're referring out this part, you're referring out that part. Well, when do you make money if you're referring everything out?
Right.
When do your skills like kick in? So,
what do you do?
What do you do? Right.
Absolutely. So what'd you do after the residency then?
After the residency, I took a job. Don't ask me how this lady found me. She came in my operatory and she said, well, my sister has an office down on Central Park North. If you need a job, go down there. She'll give you a job. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Central Park North. Okay. All right. Now
I didn't even apply. I think I might have went to one other interview. And I tell you what, I was so prepared. I mean, I was in there by myself. It was this small little office right off of Central Park North. And her name was Dr. Amaryllis Sakobo. I'll never forget her. She was a beautiful woman. And it was just two chairs, two operatories. They had a little sink in the middle. And the sister, she was kind of this little butterfly, and the operatory, the whole place, I don't think was bigger than maybe 600 square feet. It was very, very tiny. And I was in there by myself. That was one of two of her offices. And I said, okay, well, if I'm going to learn, I'm going to immerse myself into the fire. And so I'm here. I got to make all these decisions. And I learned a lot. I learned what I didn't know. I learned what I shouldn't do. I shouldn't touch. I should touch. I learned so much. I learned how to ask for help. Had a few times where I was trying to take out a tooth. Tooth kept breaking off. I'm scared. The guy, mouth full of blood. I'm like, oh, God. Oh, I had to call one of my friends, bless his soul. I said, help me. Help me finish taking this tooth out.
I can't imagine what that feels like. I cannot.
And I'm working on this one lady. She wasn't all the way numb. I thought I was getting people numb. People weren't numb. This one lady, I'm working on her. She does like this.
Oh, no. Oh,
that bird dug from here all the way to here. And I just put the bird back in there. And I said, well, you have a scar. I don't know how well it's going to heal. But please don't ever do that again. I am sorry. I had to really humble myself.
Right. What are you doing?
Right. And then I think I did that after a year. And I learned so much, but I learned to get fast because she paid well, and I was paid per procedure.
Sure.
So now I'm making like $2,000 a day. I'm like,
okay.
Holy crap!
That beats your 75 a day from teaching.
Right. $75.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm doing crowns and bridges, and I'm like, holy crap. And so anyway, and she was really honest. She was like one of the most honest doctors I've ever worked for. And I'm glad I worked for her first, because I got to see how like dishonesty creeps into the profession. And she let me work at both her offices. Great. So then after that, she had a friend come up, and she was like, well, I want to thank you for everything. I'm like, like I'm thinking to myself, but it's so good.
Right. But no.
I like you. You like me. We like each other. So she had promised this guy a job behind my back, but I told her, I said, I'd do it for a year and see how I like it. But she didn't even give me the opportunity to work longer than that.
Wow.
So she hired somebody else. And when I really got popping and clicking, I mean, I was on fire when she fired me. I'm like, how could you fire somebody that's making you like $60,000 and $70,000 a week?
Right.
How did you do that? If I'm making $10,000 a week, what the hell are you making?
Real. God, it's crazy.
And so anyway, she fires me. She says, don't worry about it. I got you. One of my friends is gonna hire you. So I was like, okay. He had an office in the Bronx. Worst decision ever.
Oh, no.
Worst decision. I liked the office. I liked everything, but I just couldn't deal with that guy. So I quit. Yeah. And I said, all right, now time to get a office. So I started searching, and I got my first office in New Jersey. I went back to New Jersey.
Oh, wow. Okay. What year was that?
I want to say 2004.
Wow. Okay.
2004. Yeah, it was 2004. Yeah, 4 years it went by. And because 9/11 was what, 2001, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so 3 years it went by. So I didn't know I was ready. And I bought a practice in New Jersey. And it was an old practice. I mean, the original dentist, he was I think a WW2 vet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he got into dental school on the GI Bill.
Wow.
And so he did some interesting dentistry. I mean, he did stuff I was never even taught. Gold foil. He had a lab in the back. And I said, we don't do that anymore. Let's shut this down. And, I could see, a little tear come down his eye. Because he actually still owned the building. Yeah. And his daughter was a MD. She worked upstairs. But the lady I brought it from, her son had diabetes real bad. So she had to stop. And so he wasn't the nicest person. I mean, he tried to be, but he wasn't. And so I had that practice for about 7 years, and I actually loved it. I did it, changed a lot. I endeared myself to the community. I loved the community, and it was a good place. Matter of fact, I have some. I don't even know if I can say their names. Some of the famous people that I had in there.
I don't know. Is that I'm not sure.
I had a senator.
Wow.
Couple news people.
Man, if senators and news people are coming to you, you had to have a good reputation. I mean, their teeth are everything.
So, yeah, so we did that for a while, and then I started dating this guy in Maryland, and one of my cousins had introduced me, and I was So, started dating the guy in Maryland, fell in love with him, but I could see he really wasn't trying to get married. So I was trying to figure out what my next move was. Because I wouldn't mind going back to DC.
Right.
I was okay with that.
You're not traumatized from being robbed. It's okay.
Oh, no, that was day one in dental school. I had to let that go if I was going to be successful. I'm very good at compartmentalizing.
There you go. That's okay.
Hey, that happened yesterday. So, anyway, I decided, like, one day I was sitting in my car and one of the sisters came out and she's like, I'm like, what? Just, we need you to come inside. We got patients. I didn't want to go in.
Huh.
So, I had another doctor working for me part-time, well, a couple doctors, and I had a whole operation, and I was never there. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I was gone half the time. I said, and I think that turned me off from having a private practice. I did not like the stationariness of a private practice. And it was almost as if I felt like my wings were clipped. If you can imagine, sure. It's like, you can love spaghetti, but do you want spaghetti every night?
Right.
And so that's how it was starting to feel. And I was starting to feel stagnated. I mean, I had the mayor. I had a whole cadre of people in there. Everybody knew me. I had this giant billboard right before you go down into the Lincoln Tunnel. I said, I'm gonna make myself known in this community. And I did. I beat down every door. I was in the courts. I was everywhere. I had this huge loving community behind me, that really supported me. And and I capitalized on the original dentist and the work he'd done and built on that. But sure. I said, this is not for me. This is not my dream. And I'm thinking, because I like dentistry so much, this is my my next step. And we don't get that many options. You can go to get a private practice. You can work in somebody else's private practice. You can work in a hospital, military, public health. I think that's it. So, or some kind of institution, or teaching dentistry in a dental school. And I was like, I'm not feeling any of these options. So I went down, I put my associates in charge. I let them run the practice, and I went to North Carolina to try to figure it out. No, ask me why I went to, no, I know why I went to North Carolina. I got a call. Somebody called me, and it's like, I was sitting in traffic, and this person called me and says, can you work in North Carolina? I think I had gotten a North Carolina, no, I didn't even have a North Carolina license at the time. I think they were doing what they call locum tenens or something like that. And I had no clue about that. And so what it is basically you temp at all these different places. And I said, oh, that sounds interesting. How much can you make from that? And they were telling me, and I said, okay, well, maybe I'll try that. So I got my North Carolina license. Damn, my inbox was full the next day.
Wow.
Yeah, because they really needed doctors in North Carolina. So that was back in 2000, I think 9 or 10. And I went down there. I decided, okay, I'm going to stay down here. And I sold the practice. I came back, sold it, tidied it up, got rid of it. And so I started doing locums around North Carolina, and that kept me busy for a few years. And I liked working in mobile dentistry. That's where I got another phone call out of the blue. somebody said, well, would you want to do mobile dentistry? And I said, well, yeah. So what's that? My life is a series.
I asked, what's that? Before I said, yeah.
Right now, I was intrigued when she said mobile dentistry. I didn't even think it was a thing.
Cool. Right.
And that's when I started working in the school system again with children, but as the dentist. And then I did it all over North Carolina. It was fun. It was rewarding. I got to be around the kids. I love being done work at 3:00. It was nice. It was just perfect. And I always kept that like in the back of my mind. I said, I want a mobile practice, but I didn't know how to do it. So I started learning from what they were doing, and I started taking notes and making mental snapshots of things that I would see and stuff. And I said, okay. So when the time was right, I started my own mobile company. So migrated to Atlanta, and I got a call. One of my friends, a dear friend of mine, his name was, he was a chef in New York. I met him in New York when I was working at the Central Park office. And he had a restaurant called Amy Ruth's. And Amy Ruth's was the spot. It was always a line outside there, and it was on my way to work. So one day I decided to stop and eat breakfast. And he introduced himself. I introduced myself to him. And we became like instant friends. Like that day, he sent me a dozen roses to my job.
Wow.
The day I met him. Hope you're having a good day. You made my day. I said, well, this man really knows how to like make a lady look.
Right.
And so, but we always were just friends. Well, fast forward, we stayed friends, the whole time I was in New York. And so he moved here, and he had fallen on hard times, and he lost one of his legs.
Wow.
And so because we would talk every week. So a couple weeks went by, I didn't really think anything of it. And then after like a month or two went by, I was like, hey, you're not answering the phone. He told me he lost his leg. And I said, what? He said, I need you to come and help me. So I came to Atlanta. I got in the car and came over here. And I'm telling you, he was living in this rehab center. I mean, like literally, as soon as you open the door, the smell just like, oof. So I said, look, you can't stay here. We got to get you out of here. He said, I know. I said, let me work some things around. So I put like my jobs on hold, and I found him a place to stay. So we got him a place to stay. Got him moved, and I came back home, and I packed up, and I said, okay, I'm going to Atlanta. I had to get a Georgia license because I didn't have a Georgia license. And I was acting too, so I was coming back and forth trying to spread my acting chops. And I got a couple of little movies.
Okay, I didn't know that. Is that something you still want to do?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I think I'm good. It's like, you got to try, though.
For sure. Absolutely.
You got to try. I was in a couple of videos, too. I was in a video with T.I.'s son.
Nice.
What's his name? Damani.
Nice.
I was in a video with, what's this guy's name? He's in jail now. Oh, God. What's his name? And the movie was out. The video was about him going to jail. The video was called Jail Call. Cass something? It was called Jail Call. Casanova. Is it Casanova?
I don't know.
Casanova. Anyway, look it up.
Okay.
I'm in that video. I play his mother.
That's so cool. I got to check that out.
Yes. And so I was doing, little stuff like that. And so and matter of fact, when I was in North Carolina, I was in a tennis tournament, broke my damn arm.
Wow.
Yes, I broke my arm, and I said that's okay. So I called my family, because I have a lot of family in Wilmington, North Carolina, and I told my mother, I said, I'm moving, but I can't pack my house. I got a broken arm.
Oh no.
So we called all the family, and my family came and packed up that house. I'm telling you, family strong.
That's amazing.
They packed up that house. My cousins came in there. My other cousin, he drove the truck all the way here, and I helped my friend Carl until he died.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was him, and it was acting, because I was actually on my way to California because I thought I was that good. I thought I was good enough I thought I was good enough to be in LA, So I said, well, I'll start in Georgia, because all the Tyler Perry's in Georgia.
Yeah, hey, it's a good place to be now, yeah.
Yeah. So I figured, I said, well, and then I was helping him. And we lost him, I think it was Christmas 2022. Yeah, I think we lost him Christmas 2022. Yeah, it was a year ago, last December. And it's funny how, like, when you don't know how much you really love a person, and like my mother used to say, y'all fight like brothers and sisters. And honestly, I think about this person every day. He will call. I don't care how I was feeling. I could talk to him, and I'd be like, "Oh, okay, yeah, we're good. We would cuss each other out, get mad at each other, and he was like, "You still mad?" Like, he was like a friend, like a best friend, and then he lost his other leg, and I could start to see the deterioration, and then he wouldn't let me help him as much because I think he was ashamed. And I saw this guy go from like so high, like he was a millionaire, to being like flat broke. And it's funny how when you're rich, people are all around you like flies.
Yep.
That's a song. What's it? Yeah, when your mom's rich, your dad is good looking. The Gershwin song, "Summertime." And he was just like, he wasn't like the finest guy, but he was generous and he was friendly. So you look at all his like stuff. He had pictures with President Bush. He had pictures with Michael Jackson. I mean, I'm talking about, he knew James Brown. Damn. Like, and so through him, I got like hella access because I was with him.
Right.
When Oprah opened her school in South Africa, I went to the movie premiere. I went to everything, and but as he fell off, you could see those people fall off.
Yep.
And that taught me a good lesson. You keep the lady that came with you to the party.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
And everybody, people will call and check on him, but I didn't see the outflow of generosity for him that he once bestowed upon so many people. And, I was trying to help him the best I could, trying to get on my feet here in Atlanta, but I could see where, people just, oh yeah, he my boy. And while he was doing, he had all these people around him, and he got so intoxicated by that energy. He didn't understand that those people weren't coming back. And he kept trying to recreate something to bring them back. And I would say to him, you got to work on getting yourself well.
Right.
Forget all that. That's, and, as I was cleaning his apartment, when he died, and I was cleaning his apartment, and this is a horrible story, but I think his blender and his mixer, and his family ripped me apart for keeping his blender and his mixer. Matter of fact, I donated his mixer to a black cooking school, which he would have absolutely never wanted. And I kept the blender, and everything else was there. And they even called some of our mutual friends to say I had stolen.
What?
A blender and a mixer. And I told him, I said, "Are you kidding me? You're his," and I'm not gonna say no names on what this relative was to him. You never came down here.
Where were you? Where were you? Yeah.
I made sure this man never spent Thanksgiving by himself, never spent Christmas by himself. 4th of July, anytime he needed me, I was there. Yeah. I moved my whole life, and you can come visit him once, and now you're calling around asking them, why am I a thief? It's still taking me a minute to get over it.
Yeah.
Get over it. And this is somebody that I loaned thousands of dollars, or gave thousands of dollars to. Yeah. So, that's a part of why I came to Atlanta. But now I'm in Atlanta for a whole different reason.
Let's get into that. Let's get into that. Why are you in Atlanta now, Dr. Bolds?
Well, I'm in Atlanta because I love it here. I love it. Atlanta is home for me. I do like the beach, but I just kind of like being here. I see a lot of opportunity here. There's a lot of opportunity for young people here. Right now, I'm doing a suites, and with the suites, I want to give opportunities to young doctors to start small before they start plunging themselves into all of these huge practices that they're being seduced into buying or building. There's nothing like having to write checks upward of $25,000 a month, and you not being able to take home a penny. And that's what they don't tell these new dentists. You got student loans, you got practice loans, you got to say you want a mortgage. Now, when you buy these practices, they come with staff,
insurances, and
and that's a whole nother topic. So the whole, I want to say the Jedi mind trick is to go big. But in dental, you can't do that because these insurances, they are not paying. They do not pay. They don't want to pay. Their whole thing is they want to keep your money. They want to keep the patient's money. They want to deny. If I'm paying, if you come see me and I charge $120 for an exam, consultation, whatever, that's worth an hour of my time.
Sure.
I'm a 20-year plus experienced professional dentist. They want to pay doctors like $50.
Wow.
Or some $20. And they're always pushing the reimbursement down. So now nobody has any money, but everybody's playing like they got money. That's how that's been going.
Yeah.
And so I said, you know what? That we got to go back to the basics. We got to go back to being small again and not having to take insurance if you don't want to take insurance, because insurance to me is such a what's the pill that is it the blue pill or the red pill?
the blue pill
to put everybody to sleep.
Yep.
Everybody's taking the blue pill. And unfortunately, it's causing a lot of distress in the dental community. People can't keep their dentists employed. People can't keep their assistants, give them raises. You can't, acquire like more real estate to build more practice because the insurance industry has tightly constricted the money flow. It's like a whole bottleneck. And now on the other side of that, people feel like they can't access dentistry because they don't have insurance. Yep. And what I want to do is be the doctor who runs your actual operation. Most of these doctors now don't want anything to do with the front office. They don't want to, they just want to show up, cut teeth, go home. That's all they want to care about. And that's a mistake. That's a big mistake. That's like going into a record label and saying, all I want to do is sing. And you're Aretha Franklin. Right. Okay. Well, you can sing for us. Just fine right here. Yep. Here. Yep. Here, and here, and here, and here, and here. Oh, it's a friendly document. No need to get your lawyer
Just ignore the part about us taking your soul. Don't worry about that.
Full stop. And so a lot of these dentists don't even know what they're worth. They think they know what they're worth, but they don't. And, they're all, oh, I want this much now, and I'm getting this much now. And here's the other kicker. The dentists that you work for are having a hard time paying you. Yeah. So now I can't pay my doctor, and my doctor needs all of this money, and I can't hardly pay my staff, and the insurance wants to pay me down here. Right. And you're looking at the insurance like, well, I've got expenses, and everything goes up. Rent goes up, employee salaries goes up, supplies goes up, equipment repairs. Don't want to try a new piece of equipment. Everything goes up. But when you look at them and they're looking at you, they're like, oh, okay, we're pushing down reimbursement. So how do you make that work? And that's because you have to go back to being small. I like dealing with my patients. I don't like having the insurance company tell me how much I can make for a procedure. Right. Because now with them, they'll say, oh, we're going to give you 10,000 patients in your area. You're not giving me anything. I got to work on these people. Yeah. But because you're signing up with us, blah, 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 you're going to have all this instant success, and it's not going that way. And so with the suites, you can start small, keep your overhead small, and build as you go. Save your money, build. Save your money, build. Because I'll tell you what, these banks are ready to leverage your 6th generation grandchild right now. Ones that you will never even meet. You done took out a mortgage on their life.
How far along are you with opening that building with the suites?
Well, we got the sign up. We got our permit. They're in there putting, they had to dig up the concrete because a lot of dental stuff is subterranean. So they had to put the pipes and the electricity in the ground. So that's what we are now. We're in pre-leasing phase. So I'm getting a lot of interest. And it's from people who understand this grind.
Yeah, no, that's amazing.
You see the people that you want. You see to do the procedures that you want. You work with the supplies that you like, or you get the equipment that you want. I'm giving you a chair. I'm giving you some cabinetry. I'm giving you all the basic stuff that you need to be successful. And then from there, it's up to you.
Yeah. Now, you've been on this huge roller coaster of a career with this dental industry. What keeps you in it? What's the thing that you love the most about the dental industry?
Oh, first is the freedom. The freedom and the flexibility. Right now, I don't think there's another profession that I could have had where I'm building a business from ground up, scratch. And my mother calls me and she's looking at the books and she's like, you need to go back to work. And I can go back to work like that.
Yeah.
I'm back in business. Yeah. Like the freedom and if you're good, they're coming after you.
Yep.
They come for you when you're good, when you're quick, when you're friendly, when you can do good work. Boom. That's all they want. That's all they want. And that has a hell of value.
Yeah.
And so that I'm never going to find. Like when I was working as an actor, I could still moonlight as a dentist. My sister's an actress, and she was like, Monica, you have a hell of a plan B.
Most actresses don't have that plan B.
She says, if it's not bartending, waiting tables, stripping, or whatever the case may be, most actors don't have a good plan B. She says, your plan B, you can pay a mortgage. Easy. And so that gave me a lot of insight as to, okay, if I could do all of this and still work and keep bills paid, then why not do those things?
Yeah.
Why not grow my own empire? Because, I listen to a lot of Instagram, and one of the things it says, you're either going to build yours or you're going to build somebody else's.
Damn right. Now, other than myself, tell me about some of the impact that you've had on people with your work.
Oh, man. I guess I'm trying to be humble, but I've had like people tell me that they could apply for jobs that they normally wouldn't feel confident applying for. A mother who, couldn't afford dentistry and her baby had an abscess tooth.
Wow.
And that's something simple.
Right.
To take care of, or, a kid who was getting joked in school because they had a spot on their tooth and the mom couldn't pay to fix it. And I said, I'll fix it in 2 minutes. And the gratitude that comes from that, the love, the vibration that comes from that is everything. And when you do things like that to change people's lives, to see them be able to flourish in a way that they wouldn't have been able to flourish had you not intervened, is amazing. It's amazing. And so why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you offer your services for that? And part of the fun part I love in dentistry, it's always something new to learn. Oh my God, when I learned to do implants, I was like, oh. When I bought my first practice, everything in there had a layer of dust distic on it. By the time I cleaned off, that place was shiny new. I had digital x-rays. The patients were like, where the hell are we? I painted the lobby this bright lime green. They were like, oh my God. I was like, oh, you in a new office. This is not your mother's Disneyland, honey. Come on.
What do you think are some of the biggest misconceptions about the dental industry, about going to the dentist, that people just don't understand, or about taking care of your damn teeth,
Well, the biggest misconception is everything costs a $1 billion. Everything doesn't cost $1 billion. Okay, you can get your teeth cleaned for $100. And why wouldn't you? And everything hurts. We numb you up.
Right.
You get numb. Yeah, you're gonna get a needle, but you get needles. But that's one of the misconceptions. I think the cost and the pain.
Yeah.
I think those two, they start to vibrate so much they become one thing.
The cause hurts a lot too. So yeah.
It's like one big thing now. It's the cause, it's the pain, it's the cause, it's the pain. So you gonna go through pain for something. So you better make it up in your mind. The stuff that you suffer for gonna benefit you. How about that?
There you go.
And I learned long ago. People say, "Oh, this caused this and this caused that," and I'm like, "Let me tell you something." I had this guy. I think he was this is when I had my first practice. These people were dressed to the nines. I never seen so much Gucci, and I didn't even know what Tag Heuer was. I said, damn. So I had to look up how much a Tag Heuer watch cost. I would see it. You know where I saw a Tag Heuer? It was on a tennis commercial.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's fancy.
Let me see how much, a basic Tag Heuer watch back then was $800.
Wow.
$800? And you giving me shit about a $200 filling? Get out of town with that. And so I had to bring it. I had to say, people pay for what they want. Yeah. And I guess part of my challenge is to educate people and get them to understand, you pay now or you're going to pay later. Either way, you're going to pay.
Yep. And it's going to be worse later. The pain and the money is going to be way more later.
always, full stop. Yeah. Always. And to get people to do basic care and to get them to understand maintenance and stuff like that is so hard. Yeah. So hard. Because in people's minds, they don't think they should have to pay for dentistry.
Right.
They don't think they should have to pay for dentistry, and they think dental insurance is this blessing from God. and then they don't, and they still don't use it.
Right.
They get it and they don't use it, or they don't know how it works, because there's a whole bunch of caveats and conditions and stuff to using it. You got deductibles, you got co-pays, you only gonna get half as much as if you get this, and then they got the procedures bracketed. It's a whole bracket.
Wow.
A whole bracket. When I had my dental office, my front desk lady spent probably 80% of her day on insurance.
Wow.
Calling and this is when we,
God. I would not.
This is when we had the little X-rays, the little films. Remember the little films?
Oh wow.
That we would have to feed into the developer. Oh, they always lost the X-ray.
Oh my God.
Always lost the X-ray. We would staple those damn X-rays. Oh, we still lost it. They played so many games. You would send a bulk envelope with all the claims back in the day. This was before electronics, right? The same envelope. Oh, out of the 10 claims, they only got 2. They threw the other 8 in the trash.
Oh, for sure.
Now, we all. So I was in my head. I was losing my mind, Corey. I said, it's got to be a different way. And people think that their insurance is so good. Insurance is horrible. Insurance is that. When I was doing it, I think it was $1,500 max. When I was taking insurance, I don't think it's gone up past $2,500, and that was like 20 years ago.
Wow. What's the point?
And I told all my patients, I said, I need you to drop your insurance and put $3,000 into a dental account and just replenish it every year, or do your medical reimbursement. I said, because it's a ripoff. Once I complete your work, drop your insurance. Yeah. I told them that. I said, because I'm like anti-dental insurance completely. It does not. And we live in a country. We used to be like the number one country of this and that. Honey, we have probably slipped so far behind with our dental. I see so much horror. I look at where I have my other practice now, the truck stop. I opened a practice in a truck
That was a
stop.
genius.
A truck stop. The truckers are they have to be the most neglected. They self-neglected people in America.
Yeah.
And they work every day. They work hard.
Oh yeah, and they make money.
They do.
Yeah.
But they do not take care of the teeth. The DOT, Department of Transportation, they have to get an eye exam. I think they have to take a drug test. They don't have anything in the list of things that they have to do for dental.
Which is ridiculous because the quality of your teeth make a huge difference in your whole body. I mean, like all the rotten teeth that I had when I came to see you, I felt a difference. Like that was not good for me to have sitting in my mouth. Just rotting bones.
Dead tissue, bacteria, infection.
Yeah.
It's chronic infection. That's why these truckers have heart attacks behind the wheel.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I had a cousin, he dropped dead driving.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they don't understand how not taking care of their teeth affects their heart.
Yeah.
All that bacteria is filtered into your system and sits in your heart.
Yeah.
One of the biggest causes of heart attack, actinomyces bacteria.
That's crazy. I didn't know that. It's one of the biggest causes. That's wild. Do we know the effect of vapes on teeth yet?
There is a lot of literature. I have to read. I don't know.
I don't know if they've been around long enough for you to really see it yet, but I'm sure, just like everything else, we're going to find out how bad these are along with cigarettes, over time.
Now tell me about vaping, because everybody, in the last, I guess, 5 or 6 years, I've seen all of these new stores with the smoke shops and stuff like that. I mean, what do you get out of it?
I mean, I was, when I started using this, I was smoking probably over a pack of cigarettes a day. So this helped me quit cigarettes, but it's no better. It just smells a lot better and it's more convenient, I'll be honest, and it's
so
cheaper.
Are you addicted to that?
I would say so, yeah. It's always on me and I always make sure it's on me. Like, it's just like cigarettes.
Okay. All right. So, it's a chemical. So,
right. Now, not that I really trust the FDA's word much, but this is the only FDA approved vape. This is a Vuse. All those other ones, like the more popular ones, like the sticks that have all the different crazy flavors and everything, those are chemicals and chemicals and chemicals and chemicals. Those are really bad. I'm not saying this is good, but those are way worse.
Oh, okay.
Have you seen like a drop in like cigarette type symptoms in teeth in the last few years?
Yeah. A lot of it's lessened. I don't see as much dry mouth. I don't see as much, but I see a lot of other new stuff.
Like what?
Meth mouth, cervical decay.
You're in the South. You're gonna see that.
Yeah. I see a lot of grinding. A lot of grinding lately. People have been breaking their teeth because it was a stressful time.
Yeah.
It's funny because when I leave the country and I come back, I'm like, why am I here?
Yeah.
I'm like, we worked so hard here. And we think, oh, we got this, we got that. We're struggling to educate our kids. We're struggling to stay healthy. And we're just stressed all the time, just for basic stuff, because we put money so high, and everybody's on the money grab. And, that we've lost a lot of our, I guess, community because we're so busy working. We don't have time for the kids. We don't have time for our spouses. We don't have time for our family. We don't have time to be communal because we're tired, blah, blah, blah. We need to take a step back and say, and I used to do that on a regular, though. I used to leave town every other weekend, but now I can see how what I was living then has helped me now.
Yeah.
Because that was my normal. Like going on vacation. And I live very small. I have, I didn't have a huge house. And my whole thing back then, 20 years ago, I said, I just want to travel. And I'm just going to live small. I'm not going to buy a fancy car. I'm not going to buy a fancy house. I had a nice little townhouse. I kept it small. And that's helped me now because it's allowed me to still have that train of thought where, okay, you can do the things you want. Just live way below your means.
Yeah.
And, in dentistry, it helps with that as long as you're making money.
Sure. Where do you want to be in 5 years?
Ooh, 5 years. Well, I want to be in a state where I can travel as much as I want. I will have a few of my suites. I plan to have quite a few, but that's my transition plan because I don't plan to be in the chair forever. Okay. I wouldn't mind teaching. I want to help dentists.
You would make a good teacher. You would make a good teacher. Yeah, I could see that.
Thank you. My kids used to love me. They didn't like it when I followed them home, though. But I like teaching, and even some of my friends, I had one friend, I had met her at another practice, and she told me she didn't know how to do extractions. And, you're looking around like, what? That's the 1, 2, 3 ABCs of dentistry.
Right.
The schools are not teaching it.
Wow. What?
They're not doing.
What are they teaching them?
How to do a one surface filling. And if it's really loose, take it out. I'm like, well, what if it's not really loose? They are, and I was telling one of the other doctors that I work with, I said, man, and being that I temp and move around, I can see like the errors, the treatment plans, how they're treatment planning people. And I said, well, why didn't they just do this? And I don't know. And I'm talking to the patient, and I'm saying to the patient, I said, well, you know what? You hate to tell a patient, the doctor, before you messed up.
Right.
But you got to kind of frame it where it's like, well, I've been doing this a long time, and I can see why they would think that and this and that. But, I can see it a little differently.
Right.
And let's try it this way and see how it goes.
Yeah.
So you always have to be careful because especially when you're working in somebody else's office, you don't want to say, look, this guy, I don't.
He screwed you up last time. I don't know what he was thinking.
Oh my God. It's rough out there. It's rough. That's why when I'm in my practice, I see the people that I want to see. I do the dentistry that I want to do, and I love it. I can go in my practice and just feel at home. I'm happy it's there. And I say every doctor should have that feeling. When DSOs, which are these dental service organizations, like you can name a few that might, what are the or Great Expressions, Dental Works, when they came into the game, that was venture capitalist money. And so these rich people said, well, we got all this money. What do we do? Right. Well, I heard that dentistry was real profitable. Let's go into dentistry. Yeah. So then you got, I think Dental Works was a spinoff from the Sears Corporation. So somebody in Sears thought that. Right. Well, I think Great Expressions is out of Michigan as well. Yeah. Dental, I think the other one is out of Chicago. And they had all this money. And what they do is they offer these really nice sign-on bonuses, which was unheard of. You're going to give me how much to walk in the front door?
Sign me up twice, please.
Well, I did it a couple times. I will say that I did take the bag. I'm not above it.
You got to. Hell yeah.
But I'm just like, when do they make this money back? because the insurance is horrible. And I'm seeing, I saw some of them closing offices.
Wow.
And I said, the last one that I worked for, I'm not gonna say the name of it, because I worked for a few. Poorly managed.
Yeah.
When I say poorly managed, from the CEO down.
Wow.
And I'm that chick where I pick up the phone and call the CEO.
Yeah.
I know I'm here in Atlanta, but I need to talk to you about some things I see going on here.
Sure.
And went up there, went to meet with the CEO. Yeah, they flew me up, put me up in a 5-star place. And the whole time I'm in 5-star, I'm looking like, how can they afford this shit? off my $800 a day production. And I know I'm a high producing person.
Right.
And the chicks around me and the doctors around me, excuse me, I was like, I know they not producing that much,
right.
but I mean, it's you aggregate it all across the country. And they were spending money like water. And I was like, you guys better get in front of this. You guys, I'm doing this. You need to be collecting this.
Yeah.
If I'm doing it for $10, you need to be, if you're getting $10, we need to ask them for 100. Maybe
right.
we'll get 50.
Right.
And the company hired this guy as a CEO with no dental experience. And you're the CEO of a major dental company.
Oh, God. Awesome.
I think he came from assisted living. And yeah, there's tons of money in assisted living.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that insurance pays there.
No, there's a lot of old money in assisted living because the people with the parents that, they not putting them in the regular assisted living, they putting them in the nice ones.
Right.
Those rents are like $8,000, $9,000 a month, $10,000 a month.
It's crazy.
Okay, but that's old Kodak money, that's old Coca-Cola money, Carnegie money. That's old money. Those are, but you spending money like you still over there.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And it's so funny. They came to Atlanta. I guess we were on the stop, and they were telling us about stuff, and the whole room was kind of like icky because people, number one, didn't want to be there. Number two, they had been lying to so many of us. And like for me, they just lied to me, just like, oh, we're going to give you $1 billion. Oh, did we say $1 billion? Oh, we meant 100.
Right.
And so, the room was all tight and nasty and everybody was like,
yeah.
So he starts putting up these slides on PowerPoint slides. And I'm like, wait, go back. I said, what's that number right there? He's like, oh, yeah. I said, why is that number got parentheses around it? Because in my mind, parentheses means negative.
Right.
So are we that much in the negative? Well, yeah, we had a rough year last year. Then why are we having this conference in Buckhead? At the Buckhead Marriott, across from Lennox. Wow. And the steak and the prime rib and the champagne. We partying like, we live in La Vida Loca, and you telling me the company is hemorrhaging money, and we sit here in the midst of this no less than $100,000 bank for a meeting. I'm looking at the dessert cart they walking around with. I'm thinking to myself, this is Tuesday.
Right.
This is not a banquet, an end of the year type thing. This is a regular meeting y'all passing through. That means y'all living like this everywhere. Yep. And so when they flew me out there, because I had all these questions, I was living La Vida Loca too.
Right.
So anyway, needless to say, he got fired, but he did a lot of damage before they left. And a lot of these companies, in my opinion, don't understand the insurance industry enough to know that the insurance industry will bleed you dry. They will boil frog your ass. You know what I mean by boil frog?
Yeah.
They'll let the frog, the boiled frog, he's hopping in the water in a pot, and you just slowly turn up the heat. Yeah. He gets hot, but he ain't jumping out. All of a sudden, he's boiled to death because of the slow.
Never even noticed. Yep.
Never noticed. And this is what's happening to the industry. People are just upset because they can't make payroll. Like, I've been let go because they couldn't pay me anymore. They're like, we just can't pay you. I'm like, but I cut 3 crowns and I did it.
But you owe me, so.
and that's happened too. Like, I mean, people owed me like $15,000.
Wow.
And that's happening. The insurance, that they'll say, and I know firsthand because I was at the steering wheel, and insurance will tell you, yeah, we'll pay for it, and then all of a sudden you get this nice little narrative about why they're not gonna pay for it. But hell, I already did the work,
right?
And the patient's expecting it,
right?
What you want me to do? How do I have this conversation with the patient?
Fine, I'm gonna put the tooth back in then. No.
or no, I'm just gonna keep your bridge until you come up with the money.
Yep.
How do you have these conversations?
Right.
And this is what we've had to deal with over the time, because that's why I get my money up front with people. I don't play with people. I'm very straightforward. I said, this is what it costs, blah, blah, blah. Because you start messing with insurance and all this other stuff, is, if you can only do this much, that's all we're going to do.
Right.
I'll tell you what I think needs to be done first and second, and then we'll do some of the things you want to do.
Sure.
And it's all about education, because nowadays, if you don't tell people, they're quick to say, you never said this and you never said that. I'm like, go to town.
Well, before we end the interview, it's been a great conversation, but what's some life advice that you would leave for anybody watching?
Always bet on you. Always bet on you. Don't expect more from anybody else than you plan to give yourself.
It's powerful.
And entitlement is failure. If you feel entitled, you're bound to fail. And this is one of my deans gave to me. A dream without works is a fail. A goal with work is success. You pick.
I love that. All right. Well, hey, thank you so much for your time, but more so, thank you so much for everything you've done for me. I cannot tell you the difference it's made. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, what it means to me. I can't wait to see you for our last appointment, but keep doing what you're doing. You're an incredible person doing incredible work, and I have nothing but respect for that.
Well, thank you, Corey. And it's been my pleasure to be a part of your story at this point in your life. And my only request is that you do help somebody else when you can.
Oh, absolutely. Always pay it forward. But this has been great conversations with character with Dr. Monica Bowles. If you need dental work, hit this woman up. She'll take care of you better than anybody else will. I'll see y'all next time. Peace up.
The most prestigious network in the land, the Signature Series Network.